Hey yo, what's up guys, it is your boy, I'm up here to bring you another video today, and today guys, we're going to be going over what true weapon you should be picking with the true weapon equip ticket that you're going to be getting on, what is it, your 5th login I think it is, or your 4th login, I'm not for sure, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it's your 5th login if I'm not mistaken, or yeah, something like that. So, let's go to it, and let's discuss it real quick. What I think you should be picking. So how you get to it is you just literally go to the alchemist shop, and then you go into exchange, and then you scroll down to true weapon select, I think it's called, right? Or what is it called? Redeem true equipment. Yep, there it is. So this one, I didn't really care about talking about the other ones like the 5-star and 4-star, because pretty much they're not really, there's not like a lot to like really choose from, to be honest, for one, and then for two, like it's pretty much self-explanatory with the 5-star equip. If you don't have chrono, get chrono. If you don't have letter bag, get letter bag over chrono. If you're doing arena, I would say that because it gives you crit chance and damage. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think for the 5-star equipment. But for the true equipment though, let's talk about, so all the true weapons we have Reyes, Roy's, Iris's, oh my goodness, I was Malia, Mira, Lise, Regulus, Zorg, this is Ragna, this is Finn, Rags, Thenas, Est, Malias, Scylla's, this is Rims, this is number 2s, Clyde, Corsair, and Arth. Now let me say real quick is that the best true weapons on this entire list, if you have the units, is literally Regulus and Thenas true weapon. They are the best true weapon on this entire thing. If you have those units. If you're not, then I also want to say that I personally, what I'm going to do whenever I get this ticket, for me personally, I'm actually not getting Rags' true weapon because that was the other one that I would recommend just a second. I'm actually going to get Thena's true weapon just in case if I ever pull Thena, I will have her true weapon available. So there's that. But real quick, let's talk about these. Let's go from the bottom down, and then at the end, I'm going to tell you who I think, like the order of what you should pick them in, or like what I think that you should do, like your priority list, I guess you could say. So let's do this. So you got Reyes at the top, Roy and Iris. I'm gonna say all these, don't even worry about picking them. They're not even that good. Like, don't pick any of them. Like, maybe Roy's because of the attack damage, or the attack up, not the damage, but the attack up. But even then, dude, I'm not 100% with it. All these are kind of just eh. The only one that's maybe considerable is actually True Raz. This one right here is actually really good on someone like Scylla. People use this all the time on Scylla, so if you want to pick up this and you like using Scylla and you have really good 5-star defense equipment, you could use that on her. Also Deus Jade will also be just as good, so it's not really like too much, but I just thought I'd like to add that. Apart from that though, you don't really see this being used a lot. After that we have Mira's true weapon. Now Mira's true weapon is a little bit interesting because I want to say if you were not here whenever Mira's event was here, for you to get the physical attack item that allows you to 100% or well 100% burn the enemy with a physical attack item that's from the event, I would recommend picking up this because it's probably your best bet after that. But if you already have that, then there's no real reason to really pick this. There's other options for her, but this will still be a good item for Mira if you like using Mira, but I wouldn't recommend it if, let's say, like you're picking between this and like Thena, or like Thena and like her, or I said Thena and her, and I already said it, or Regulus and her, or something like that. I wouldn't really recommend it in my personal opinion. However, though, this is still really good. It's able to be used on a lot of different units because it just has a chance to burn. Also gives you Earth Elemental Killer level 1, which only increases your damage by 5%, which is really nothing. But and also whenever it's equipped to Mira, it just increases his own damage by 20%. So yeah, there's that. But it's kind of like, I mean, it's up to you if you really want it. If you weren't here for the Mira event, then I would recommend getting it if you like using Mira. If you do not use Mira hardly any, like at all, then I wouldn't recommend getting it at all. So yeah. Moving on from that, we have Lisa's true weapon. Now Lisa's true weapon is, I want to say, probably one of the, not really one of the best ones on here, but it's a very solid true weapon. What this allows you to do, it's a 60-second cooldown at no LB. I don't know what it is at max, probably like 45 seconds, maybe 50. This is an AoE cleanse and heal. which is really good, as a 5-star support or 5-star heal equip. My bad, 5-star heal equip, meaning that you can use this on someone like Mako or anybody else who has a 5-star heal equip, which is really good. Also, on top of that as well, you have recovery effect level 2, which allows you to increase your healing that you dish out. So increase the healing performed by yourself by 10%. So you put this on somebody like Mako, her 400 heal, or is it 300? Is it 300 heal? I think it's 300 heal. Her 300 heal gets 10% more healing to it, and that affects everyone on your team, which is really good. So there's that, and also increases at least his own damage. So this is very universal. It's a very universal true weapon if you want to get this. But of course, there is other cleansing items in the game, like Heim, for example. You can get that from the gacha. There is Keratos, which is a 4-star relic, which can pretty much cure most stats elements that you want to cure. Apart from that, though, there is other items apart from this. So it's up to you if you want it, but this is a very solid option if you want to pick it. Next is Regulus's true weapon. I already said this, already talked about it. This is one of the best true weapons in the game. It makes Regulus from being a C tier unit to an S tier unit. Regulus is literally complete trash without this on him. So yeah, you need to have this on him because it's top tier, super top tier. On top of this as well, this will increase Regulus's crit damage by 50%, and it automatically increases art gauge, which automatically increasing art gauge is 2 to 3 arts a second, if I'm not mistaken. It's not like random, like it's not like it's going to be 2 or 3. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's either 2 or 3 arts a second. I think it's 3 arts a second, if I'm not mistaken. Also on top of that as well, this is actually extremely strong. Reducing enemies' dark resistance by 30% for 10 seconds, or at max it's 50%, may not sound like a really strong debuff. That is actually a huge debuff. Like, that allows you to deal a ton of damage. So yeah, this is really good on Regulus. If you have him, this is a must pick up, definitely. Now after that we have Zorg. Zorg's true weapon is okay. If you have the original, like just the normal Rude Magus from his event, you can use that on him, to be honest, or on any other unit. His true weapon is good. The only thing about it is that it does make Zorg, I almost said Rory, it does make Zorg a little bit stronger in that sense that he can tank a little bit more because he does get a 50% defense increase, which is nothing, you know, to laugh about. That's a huge defense increase. And also on top of that as well, he does get increased damage by 20%, which is pretty good, like all the other true weapons. But the only thing that sucks about Zorg and really this true weapon is that this true weapon would be really good if it also gave art gen, I think, or it gave something else to Zorg. Apart from that though, like, you could just use the normal one because it's not going to do like anything too crazy. You can just use the normal one and it's going to be perfectly fine from the event. I wouldn't recommend really getting this, even though if you want to, you can use it, but it's not really for Zorg, unless you're a Zorg main. If you're a Zorg main, pick it up because it makes Zorg really good. Next is Ragna. Now Ragna's true weapon is kind of just also Ragna as a unit is kind of just I wouldn't recommend picking this up at all. Like, I'm not even going to cover it. It's not really all that. Like, it does give him immunity to all stats elements, which is cool apart from Feint, but it's not really anything crazy. I wouldn't recommend getting it at all. Next is Finn's true weapon. I had a lot of people ask me, OP, do you think I should get this? This true weapon, let's just talk about it real quick before we actually discuss it. And pretty much at max, this is exactly like the one from the event. This is the exact same elf sword from the event. On top of that as well, we have the only thing that it gives you is increased damage by 20%, increased evasion rate by 15% when near death, and when HP is under 50%, increased own damage inflicted by 15%, which is still good. You know what I mean? It's nothing to laugh about. But the only thing is that I'm gonna say is that this true weapon does have a lower CT speed than the event one, but I do not recommend getting this because, for one, Finn's event item is already strong enough, and if you're picking true weapons, right, you should be picking true weapons based on the units you have, or units that you are planning to get on in the future, or you are hoping to get in the future, whatever the case may be. You should not just like be like, oh, I just want a true weapon to put on everybody, because I don't understand the thing. I don't understand the argument that people have whenever they're like, oh, well, Finn's true weapon is good on multiple units. But why would I use Finn's true weapon on someone like, you know, Rags or someone like Regulus? You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? Or the only unit that I can actually think about logically putting it on apart from Finn, is Usurpa to give her the increased art gauge when it hits. Apart from that, I don't really see any other unit using it really. I mean, it's still, you could put it on other units to give them art gauge, but maybe even Hichikata, if you want to. I could see that as well, trying to get his true art faster and all that stuff, but even that, man, I don't really see the whole point about it. Like, it's an okay true weapon. Finn does not need it. He's already super top tier without it. And then giving him this true weapon doesn't even, like, help him at all because it doesn't give him, like, increased art gauge or anything like that. Just his one from the event, from his event, is already good enough. If you do not have the one from his event, maybe consider this. But apart from that, I don't really think that you should really worry about it. Next is Rag's True Weapon. Rag's True Weapon is okay. It's not nothing too crazy. It will probably, if I didn't want to pick up Fina's, it would probably be the one that I would pick up. The only reason for that is because Rags has this ability right here. He gets increased damage by 20% and skill CT speed by 50%. So his skill CT speed is actually really good considering that Rags skill gives him art gauge, so that's actually pretty solid. And also, 50% decrease on a 9-second cooldown is pretty huge. So yeah, it's kind of good in that regard. Apart from that though, I'm not really too into it, you know what I mean? It's alright, it's an okay true weapon. If you have Rags and you already have Fina's and Regulus's true weapon, and maybe all the Blade Master's true weapons, maybe pick up this. My personal opinion, because I think it would be really good on him, to be honest. I think it would be very solid, but he doesn't need it. There's other items that he can use, like Stippity Snips and all that is sometimes, well, most of the time better than this item because of its reducing the physical resistance, or something like Scissor Blade, which is increasing his own art damage and stuff like that. So it's up to you if you want it, but my personal opinion, it's kind of just, it's really up to you if you want this true weapon or not. That's what I'm going to say. Like, if you have Fina and Regulus' true weapon, then pick this up, I would say. Fina's true weapon, God tier, makes Fina from being a B tier unit to an S tier unit. This thing is amazing. This thing is exactly like Regulus' true weapon. However, the only difference is that it increases Fina's damage, not her crit damage, by 20%. And also, it automatically increases her art gauge. So this will give her about 2 to 3 arts a second. Which is really good for Fina. It makes her super top tier, and Fina's is an amazing unit because this gives her innate art gen, which is really good on units. I don't know if you realize that's pretty top tier. Most units that are top tier have some type of art gen built into their kit. So yeah, this is really good on Fina. Make sure you pick it up if you are going to be using Fina in the future, or if you have Fina right now and you do not have this, make sure you pick this. It should be top priority for you, top priority. True Val Height, this is the S true weapon. I'm going to say this is that the normal Val Height is already good enough, but if you want to, you can just get this for S if you're an S main or you really like using S. This is also a very solid option. The only thing is I'm going to say is that it just increases your damage, and then everything else is the exact same from the normal Val Height. I think it does have a little bit less skill CT speed, or the CT speed on the equipment, let me say. So there is that, but apart from that though, nothing too crazy. It's still a very solid pickup if you want it, and if you get it for S, definitely run it on her. You should definitely run this on her if use this over the normal Val Height, you know what I mean? So yeah. Malia's true weapon is kind of, I don't really know what to really think about it. It's okay. It's not nothing too crazy. It does increase her damage by 20%, and also she also gets increased damage against enemies that are blind. This is, I would say, really good in the sense that if you're going to be using her normal art, this does help you out a lot because technically you're getting a 40% damage increase with her ability and her blind ability on her equipment. So there is that, but I would say also too, this would be really good if this had a chance to blind too, but it doesn't, which sucks. So if this had a chance to blind, I would recommend it for Malia. But there's other items you could use, literally like Summon Skeletal Wings, Relic Diablos, what else? X Marks the Spot, a bunch of stuff that you could use on Malia. So I wouldn't really recommend it. Scylla's true weapon is okay, let me just say. So Scylla's true weapon, what does it do? It ignores enemies' defense. I think this goes up to 60% at max level, I think. And yeah, it reduces damage for, I think, 20%. at max level. I could be wrong about that. Her ability is Leader of the Country, which this only increases her max HP by 1,000, let me say, and reduces damage by 10% when near death, and also Solitary Princess. When equipped by Scylla, increase own damage by 20% and negates paralysis and freeze resistance. I have this true weapon. I actually do for Scylla. I do not have Scylla, however. This is really good if you use it on her, but it's nothing to really go after or chase, let me say, so it's not really like super top tier. There's other physical items you could use on Scylla that is just as good. So yeah, it's nothing to really chase. I would just say if you got this in the true equip banner, then good, lucky for you. But unless like you already have all the other true weapons, then I would say pick this up, I guess. Rim's true weapon is pretty interesting. This does dark elemental damage, magic, for 5 seconds, increase own BE output by 50% and decrease enemies attack and defense by 10%. I think at max that goes up to attack and defense down 20%. I could be wrong about that. Also, on top of this as well, she does have Philosopher's Stone, which is the ability it comes with, is increased magical damage by 10%, regenerates Art Gauge when near death, and Alchemist, increased damage by 20% and Alchemist heal amount when equipped by Rim. So let me just say this real quick, is that Rim is a really good unit. People don't use her. She's very slept on, but she's a very solid unit. On top of this as well, this true weapon is not half bad, to be honest. It's actually pretty solid. But in my personal opinion, you definitely don't need it on Rim. You can use other items on her, but this is a very good pickup if you're going to be using a Rim, because, you know, I would say it would be super good if this was a better X marks the spot, because if you see right here, for 5 seconds, you increase your own BE output by 50%, not your team's BE output. So this will only affect herself. So that's why I'm saying it's not like super top tier, but it is a pretty solid equipment if you want to pick it up. My personal opinion though, wouldn't really recommend it unless you're maining Rim or you use Rim a ton. Number 2's true weapon, completely useless. Blade Master's true weapon, I'm going to say is about them all. They are all very solid. All of them are extremely good. They make the Blade Masters going from like D tier units to A tier units. They all increase their damage by 75%, and they all give them innate art gen. So they're all really good. If you want to know which one is technically, I guess, the best, Corsair is technically the best Blade Master, so her true weapon I would consider would be the best. Also, her true weapon does give you a chance to freeze, which is really good. Apart from that, though, it'd probably be, after Corsair, it'd probably be Arth and then Clyde. So there's that. So if you have one of these units and you do not have the true weapon, I would recommend picking it up. Because, for example, I actually have Corsair's and Arth's true weapon, but I do not have Clyde's. So I would maybe consider it, but like I said, I'm picking up Fenas because I want Fina, because I feel like in the future I'm bound to get her one day. So yeah, there's that. Now for your priority list, like I said in the video earlier, this video is more so just to help you kind of decide what you think you should get and all that stuff. So your priority list for this, I'm just going to go over a few of them, and then after the list that I give you, it's up to you what you want. So I would say top 1 and 2 is definitely Nemesis Crow and Centurion. This is Regulus and Fina's true weapon. After that, I would say probably, if you have them, is the Blade Master's true weapons, because if you use someone like Corsair a lot and you do not have a true weapon, this makes Corsair really good. Corsair's used a lot still to this day. Corsair is used specifically for her freeze ability, and she does do some decent damage herself, so it's nothing too crazy, but I mean, hey, these guys all hit relatively hard as well, so none of them are technically bad. You know, Arth is a very solid breaker as well, and Clyde is a very good attacker. So I would recommend picking up this for after you decide if you need Fina and Regulus true weapons. So 3, 4, 5 would be this. After that, I would say probably you would pick up Rags' true weapon if you have Rags. If not, then maybe, yeah, I think only Rags is the one that I want to consider. Rags' true weapon probably the one that you would pick up after that if you have him. Also, I'm considering that you have these units. I'm not considering they're going to go on other units, okay? But if you have Rags, then I think he would be next. And then after that, probably like, if he wasn't here for the sword from the Mirror event, probably Mirror's equip if you want to use that on her, even though there is other items that is just as good. And then after that, it's completely up to you. So yeah, guys, it's going to be it for the video. hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you guys found this informative. Hopefully you guys are able to pick out your true weapons a little bit better. Hopefully this kind of helped you clear up some stuff, kind of see which one that you really want from this list. So apart from that though, guys, that has been your boy OP. Thank you all for staying tuned to the video. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm out, guys. Peace.